everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your third Suits LA episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. Finally, it's starting to get a little bit warmer here where I live, so I'm very scared how, I don't know how many episodes this season has. I really don't. I did not read the count. I don't even think the count's confirmed yet. I think they're still shooting the show, at least the last time I checked. So I don't know how long we're gonna go for. I really don't know. Considering at this pace, it's kind of hard to gauge the story so far a little bit, because again, this is a kind of a new type of show for me. I don't know what the end goal is. You know, it kind of feels a little bit more old-fashioned storytelling, which is kind of like the season play out. You know, see where things might land, see what they might want to do, that sort of thing. But just to get right into it with this week's episode, I will say, I think it's a definite improvement. I was vibing with this episode a lot more than I was anticipating. I was very critical, if I want to be a nice way of saying it, on the last two episodes. And that's not what I'm merit. Obviously, of course, you know, I'm in the majority where, like, this show is not quite what we were expecting. First of all, it's a good thing that they allowed themselves to kind of temper what our expectations are. Like, you know, the trailers only showed us so much. It was only able to kind of, it was a very small peek into that world. And now, you know, being here, it's like, you know, the first two episodes were like trying to establish this new status quo without necessarily kind of establishing an original status quo, if that kind of makes sense. I feel like if that was the angle they were going with here, kudos to them. But like for me, like I said, I didn't really feel attachment. Like the whole Ted and Stewart relationship didn't really, like, I wasn't like, what, they had a couple of cool scenes together, and then the whole breakup of it. It just kind of felt sudden. And I understand the first episode was the pilot, and now second episode was kind of like, now we're starting to build out a little bit of this universe. It kind of felt like a pilot part two, so to speak. So I would morally accept this episode being the true entry into the show beyond the pilot. And I feel like they did a good job at it, which is kind of rare. Is a little like, I was really kind of going into this episode where like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to kind of meander a little bit, you know? And the way that it's going, I think it's good. I think definitely some of the angles they're trying to kind of play with, I think was very much needed. I think I needed a couple more building blocks. Because it feels like we already have, it was supposed to be this like mid-season foundation breaker, when it didn't feel like it, when we were still kind of just still getting to know these characters. And this episode kind of took us a little bit of a step back, kind of really put these characters in the positions where we kind of need to be for us to kind of understand them just a little bit more, to really get the labor of their character. Whether or not that was intentional or this was always the plan, I can't say for certain one way or another. But what I can say is that I think this episode does a really good job furthering out Ted and Stewart, which I think was, I guess, supposed to be the anchor of the show a little bit. And I feel like this episode finally rectified that a little bit. Not 100%. I still very much am still, we're missing some things for me to really like kind of like be a little bit more invested in the show. But the decisions they made here, the things we did get to see, I think it very much helped out the show in the long run. And I'm very much a little bit more curious to see where this next episode leads us. And minor spoiler, yeah, Harvey from the original show is coming back next week. I'm not sure if that's his first guest star appearance or his first, because I heard he's going to be part for 3 episodes. It's very vague how their terminology of it. So, yeah, well, we're expecting that next week to start seeing the suits characters really pop up here. And again, like, you know, as being not seeing the original, I'm more interested to see how does this organically weave into things, not being an outside perspective. But for now, like, we're jumping a little bit ahead here. Let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Suits LA. So we begin. It's a bright, sunny morning in LA, and I believe Rick is entering Samantha's office. He has been summoned by the big boss of this new merge firm. That even though he's now officially the head of entertainment, that, you know, it's not always about the big office, the big money, the big perks. It's not all about that. There's going to be very difficult choices to be made, very difficult conversations to have. And one of them is that, sadly, he has to let go 3 people from the entertainment team that are no longer needed. Obviously, Rick's a little bit uncomfortable with this, considering the fact, again, he's never been put in this position of like, you gotta let people go. It's a very difficult thing, a very difficult conversation to have. And But again, Samantha does got a point. Like, it is a very crucial decision being a leader of that sort. That sometimes you get, when it's time to let people go, it's time to let people go, and that's kind of like where the line gets drawn on that. To be honest with you, and I think the other thing to note with that is that, well, again, like I said, Rick and Erica kind of do their own things this episode. They don't really cross-pollinate that much, but I think it does help them out with their characters. It does definitely, allow us to kind of, see them individually. And I think, just to jump minor head is that I think that definitely helped them out a little bit in the long run with that. So Rick goes off to kind of determine who is he cutting from his firm. Meanwhile, as for Ted, he's kind of still rigging it out with Kevin about the whole everything that's going on here. So I think I'm not sure what scene exactly we get here. I'm not quite sure. I know he does have another one-on-one. Oh, no, I remember now. So there was the confirmation that his the client that he's representing, the producer that killed his fellow partner, it was recently kind of leaked out that his wife was sleeping with him. So he's obviously angry. He's obviously all sorts of rage right now, and obviously Ted and Kevin are just looking at each other like, this is going to be really difficult to sell in terms of character analysis when we get to court. So this is just like great. This is just wonderful for them. As they're just watching this guy literally destroy up his entire area as they're kind of trying to like take stock of the situation, basically speaking. Meanwhile, for Erica, with Ted being more focused on the criminal defense case now, Erica's really going to have to double dip with the whole managing their more high-profile clients. And finally, we start. Okay, now before I go any further, I'm not speaking ill will of Victoria Justice. I'm not speaking of that. But we get like another really well-known actor, let's just call it that, in where their client of this week is Brian Brommacher, who I'm probably butchering his name wrong. He is mainly known for Kevin Malone from The Office, which I'm just like, cool, this is really cool, and I feel like this was always the spiel of it. I remember there was like some sort of like social media thing where it was like confirming, Ted Black's biggest clients are like Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio, another well-known actor that I'm blanking on their name on, and I'm just like, that's cool. I just never see them showing up on the show. I'm just being completely frank with you. Like, you're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, who is very picky with his role, and you're telling me Ted Black represented. Like, obviously that's a cool name thing, but I'm like I'm just saying in universe, it kind of really doesn't do it for me. Obviously, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio has to have a lawyer, obviously, because just it's obvious reasons. But the point I'm trying to say is that it's very cool to see like actual like real, because like again, Victoria Justice is not playing her character, she's playing a different character. She's not playing herself, she's playing a different character, the Dylan character, and now Brian is playing himself, which I think is very cool, and it's very telling on certain things. So he's here because he wants to have a meeting with them. Obviously Ted usually would be the go-to, but since Ted's occupied now, that Erica is now gonna have to take stock of the situation. She meets up with Leia, who again, like last episode, the two discussed this like partnership where like Leia is going to teach Erica the more of the specifics of entertainment, knowing exactly what the clients are, who they are, where they're coming from, and then Erica is going to allow to teach teach Leia more about being a lawyer, basically speaking, like really being a partner, really knowing the ins and outs of this business. So continuing that arrangement, Leia's now tasked to like kind of give her the quick lowdown of who Brian is as a person, which is going to be very helpful in that regard. Ted runs some stuff around town. I don't quite remember exactly what he was doing a little bit beforehand, but Ted does meet up with Stewart in front of a building. No, not yet. Ted goes to meet the producer's wife first, to kind of, make sure that even though they're going to be in the middle of a divorce, even though they're going to be in the middle of a messy situation right now, that she still needs to remain firm and supportive of her husband when they do get to court. However, sadly, Stewart has already poached her from Ted's care and clientele list, which obviously pisses Ted off a little bit more so, to the point where like they do meet up with each other. He yells at him, and Stewart's like, hey, look, I didn't really want to poach. She came to me. She's understood the situation. She knows, okay, her husband's affiliated with you. She needs some sort of neutral outsider, and Stewart, being, they have their kids are friends with each other. Then like, yeah, no, of course, it seemed like a natural ask to like, can you represent me during this divorce case? And Stewart agreed. And obviously Ted's like, you're only really doing this because, you still got beef with me. Like, you took away a good portion of my firm. You took away this. You took away that. You sided with Samantha, my ex. It's like, will this revenge scheme not end? And that's kind of where Ted's kind of more holed up on. And whether or not Stewart is 100% down for that, I don't know. I really don't know. This isn't like the first episode anymore where like Stewart was a very dead cold stent person. This feels a little bit more of a warmer Stewart, but for a very specific reason. He's trying to tell Ted one more thing, but Ted's not having it. He walks away. And then we get our flashback for the episode where we see Ted and Stewart in 2010, so this is like, we're continuing the flashback storyline a little bit more, where Ted is now moving his case over one of the surviving gang members that's willing to testify. However, the only snafu he's running into with this is he wants a plea deal. And the plea deal he's going to be asking for is not what Ted wants, considering the fact this is the same individual that killed his previous star witness. So Ted is very much like, okay, so the plan is you're going to be his attorney, and you're going to pivot him on a very small deal so that he'll accept my deal. And that's going to be the plan here. And Stewart's like, okay, I'll do it. Again, so at this point, Stewart is an LA base. At some point, these two did like go to law school together. They were chummy. He just decided to go to Cali, and Ted decided to remain in New York. So that's kind of the arrangement. They left it over there. And then eventually Kevin comes in ready to pitch Stewart on the whole, like, yeah, by the way, just letting you know, like, if you take this case, in the midst of like trying to get this deal in play, you're gonna have a lot of these criminals after you, so we're gonna set you up with FBI protection. And this is the first time I feel like I chuckled on the show where, and again, it's a lewd joke. I do apologize for it. It actually just did make me chuckle. Where like he's kind of showing this color graphed line graph, or a color coded line graph of what the plan is. Like, okay, here's our client, here's you, here's where the FBI is, and Stewart asked the right question. Like, okay, then where are you? So it's all color coded. He said, I'm the black one. And I'm just like, I don't know that. I don't know what the point of that joke was, but it actually did hit for me. So I'll give them kudos on that. So yeah, and then Stewart just immediately agrees to it because he's doing this for Ted. And Kevin's just like, oh, I just spent 6 hours working on these graphs. And Stewart being, again, like, This guy is a completely different person than the one we've been already introduced to, where like he's just talking to Kevin and he just tells him like, do you want me? Do you still want me? Do you want to show me the graphs? He's like, yes. And I'm just like, that's actually sweet. That's really sweet. We come back to present day where Erica meets with Brian, and obviously at first Brian is just very understandable. Ted's not available right now, and Brian gets to the meat of what he's here. He wants to kill Kevin Malone. Okay, yeah, the office is over. The paper's on the way, but he means is that he's been attached to this character for so long. That's all people can look for. And it's that the age-old thing, he's been typecast. Which, yeah, let's be honest, once you do a big role, it's kind of very hard to get out of it. Like, everyone just wants to see you, like, like, action movie stars are only meant to be action movie stars. Like, it's very hard to kind of break the mold because some people it's a bit like, I've said this before with movie and TV show, it's a business at the end of the day. They're going to greenlit movies. They're going to pick up shows that are going to guarantee to be the best chance of being a hit. And again, like, Brian at this point is just, we look at him and all we can see is, yeah, Kevin Malone. Like that's kind of the sad reality. I'm pretty sure he's done other work. I'm pretty sure I've seen him somewhere else. But besides that, like, I've only known him as Kevin Malone. So even like one of the firm associates kind of walked past, like, hey, Kevin Malone. He's just like, he goes back into his Kevin voice on my, which I just remember, yeah, technically he could do that because Brian, The Office was on NBC, I believe. Yeah, he was on NBC, so like it makes sense for like for that to work. So I find it to be very hilarious. Where was I going with that? Yeah, so that's what he wants to do, and the important thing is that he wants to pivot from this very successful comedy show to getting an Oscar, which I'm like, okay, we're really kind of dialing in on the Ke Huy Quan / Brendan Fraser effect. We're like, yeah, they were different actors back then, they do the one dramatic role and then boom, they win an Oscar. And I do want to, it does happen. Obviously, you know, it does come up. But you know, obviously Erica looks at that like, oh, you want to really make that jump. And Brian's like, absolutely. And the person that he wants to mentor him, to kind of push him to like that next stage of his career, kind of like motivating him to get out of this typecast box he's been stuck in, is Tom Hanks, which I'm just like, no, you are absolutely not going to get Tom Hanks. But Erica, again, having to please the customer, again, the firm's not in the best place right now. She's going to say, okay, yeah, okay, we will somehow pull off Tom Hanks. And Brian's like, yes. So from there, we cut back to not yet. So he cuts to, I forgot how Ted receives the big news. I forgot how it was. How did it go? I believe, no, so I know eventually Ted runs back into Kevin and Kevin gives him the photo, a very incriminating photo that their client is looking at his wife and his partner, you know, in the middle of a very steamy moment, and he's directly looking at them when he's claiming he never knew about it till recently. So they're like, fuck. Like, this photo's very, very incriminating. It really is. And so now Ted's like, once again, like, this guy is just hiding things from us. What are we doing? Like, we're trying to defend the dude, but like, if he's hiding these things left and right, like, how can we really make a case for him? And honestly, yeah, he does have a point on that matter. And then somehow, I don't exactly know how, I don't remember how exactly this came up. I really, really don't know. I forgot. So I know, so like I said, I forgot exactly how the scene came out. I know eventually Ted and Stewart do have another phone conversation where Stewart confirms that, so before Ted's dad died, he left Stewart as the executor of his will, which obviously Ted is pissed about, because obviously this is a very strong jab his dad left for him, like his best friend at the time, you know, being the person that is now having to like execute his will and make sure Ted follows everything point to point. And one of the big things that Ted's dad wrote in his will is that he's going to be buried next to his brother, which again Ted blames him for the death of his son. Oh, my bad, his brother. Well, Ted's brother, Ted's dad's son. Same deal. So obviously he's pissed about that. This coincides at the same time where Rick gives them the 3 proposed people to cut. Samantha's like, nope, no one's getting cut. This was just a test to make sure that you're willing to make the hard decisions, and you can. So that's good for you. That's at the same time where Ted walks into Rick's new office. Not really focused on Rick right here. He's just focused on Samantha. Like, did you know that Stewart is now is the executor of my dad's will? She's like, no, I had no idea. This is also when Rick found out that that Ted's dad died recently. So obviously Ted is pissed, and he's just trying to figure, like, was there any more secrets that the people I used to care about holding for me? And you know, he kind of storms off from there. And as Samantha kind of like, you know, is looking like, oh shit, like what the fuck just happened? I know eventually Erica does talk to Leia again about the whole Brian situation. Yeah, Tom Hanks is a very high profile client of theirs, but he's not signing off on it. There's no way they're gonna do the meeting. It's very difficult right now to do so. So they're just trying to figure out another ploy around it. I know Leia does have a smart thing to say about the matter, but we don't really progress on that just quite yet. Going back to, where do we go from here? I forgot exactly where we were. I know eventually, no, actually we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I know we still got to deal with the funerals. I think we just go to the next flashback where we're back in New York. Ted and Kevin are looking at their client, and now Stewart as the representative just like on the deal and everything. However, Stewart, being a lawyer himself, he's putting his influence in on this matter, even though he's doing a favor to Ted, that he's still like doing his own flair, still being a proper, you know, civil servant. And he does try to get him a better deal that Ted agreed on. Ted actually just walking out, Stewart following and yelling at him like, you know, this was not the plan. Like, the plan was you make him agree to the nothing deal, because I'm not offering him anything. Because the whole point of the matter is, I apologize for my hair. The whole point here is that the only reason why he's doing this whole thing in the first place is because, fairly simply, that's the pitch right now. That's the strategy he's going to use in court, using this individual. he doesn't really care about him. He really doesn't. He's responsible for killing the other person, and Ted does feel responsible for it, even though, again, he had nothing to do with it. It is what it happened the way it did. But obviously, Ted still feels connected to it, and the fact that he's representing now, he's connected, associated with the guy that killed him. It's at that moment for him where, like, he's pissed, but at the same time, he's just trying to figure out what is he going to really do about this. And, like, that's why he's trying to give him as little benefits as possible, even though he's going to be helping out Ted tremendously. And Stewart hearing this, where, like, you know, Ted's talking about, like, just, you know, this man has done a lot of things really, really wrong. And I need to make sure that he goes away as well. Like, he's going to help me, but he's still going to go away. I know there's a moment where it's like they interrupt thing, but I completely forgot, so we're going to move on from here. I think from here, no. So we go to the first round of negotiations for the divorce. Ted and Kevin just trying to plead the steward and the producer's wife, their client's wife, that, okay, we'll sign off on a lot of things, but the only thing we're demanding for is that you need to be present at the trial for support. That's all we want. And there's still some withholding. There's still some caveats. You know, there's still some arguing going on. Ted and Stewart actually take over the arguing for themselves and trying to, like, you know, kind of make it about themselves right now. And even Ted's own client had to kind of like, dude, that's not what we're here for. We're like, can we focus on the task at hand here? And obviously, you know, it's like one of those, like, you know, we'll adjourn for the day. We'll reconvene on this matter another time. So they go off on there. Eventually, I do know the picture's not viral yet. It's not there yet. Or maybe I'm speaking out of order. I forgot. Eventually, I know one of Ted's, I think Ted's secretary also denies the Tom Hanks thing, which I don't know why she would have an influence on that, but it is what it is on that moment. And Erica and Leia decide to kind of pivot to, like, okay, if we can't get Tom Hanks, let's just get someone else that can easily do it. And the person that Leia picks is just like 100%. This made the show even better. Patton Oswalt, aka Remy from Ratatouille, which I'm just like, the way they mentioned it, I'm just like, I love it. I really, really do. I know I'm not trying to be biased here, but at the end of the day, this is my review show. I'm the one making the review. We're like 100%. You even make one Ratatouille reference in your show, immediately it shoots to the top for me. It shoots to the top. So they decide to pivot Patton Oswalt, which, again, it's not what Brian wants, but again, Patton has done comedy roles and he has done dramatic roles. So this is definitely a person that Brian could lean to for advice to make certain, and even, like, you know, this one was so sweet. I do admit there was a corny moment where, like, Leia was eating Fruity Pebbles, which I'm just like, it's obviously a product placement. And, like, it's just like, I didn't really like that moment. I like the beginning of it. And then they're doing the Charlton dance, and I'm just like, yeah, those two moments kind of ruined it for me a little bit. Like, they didn't really hit for me, to be honest with you. I think we cut later that night, and Ted and Kevin speak to their client about the photo. Obviously, he's flabbergasted by it because he doesn't remember shit from that night. He doesn't remember anything from that photo. And Ted's like, you're expecting me now to go to court and argue for hours that this was a doctored photo. We're going to waste time on that. And again, you have kept information from us, so maybe this is real. You're just still covering your ass. Who the hell knows? Sadly, Stewart does call Ted to let him know that, okay, well, the photo you just found is leaked online and now is public everywhere. So now we're going to renegotiate the terms of this divorce agreement. So we'll meet you in an hour, which I'm just like, great. Just great. Can y'all ever get some real sleep? Like, you know, I've been in LA at night, and like that, it is not one. It's not something I would like to do and go back home, go back to anywhere else at night. This is my preference on it. This is my only stance on it. From there, I want to say, where do we go from here? I'm sorry. I'm reaching for the stars here. I'm reaching for the stars. I'm blanking here. I'm lost. I forgot exactly. I think we just go straight to the. Oh no, we're still at Brian and Patton. I forgot about this. So they talk. They're jiving a little bit. You know, where, like, you know, they're just talking about things about, like, how Patton's career has been, and Brian's like, yeah, no, that's exactly what I need. Like, you know, I want to be an Oscar winner, and, you know, so if I'm hearing from you, like, you know, you don't have to necessarily just be a comedy guy for it. You can move on to other things. Like, that's what I want to know. And Patton just says, oh no, like, you know, I'm a fan of you, obviously, of course, but I'm a fan of what you did. I'll never see you ever be anything else besides Kevin Malone. I don't think you have the capability of being an Oscar winner. I'm just like, whoa. Patton Oswalt, you're usually a sweet guy. Where is this coming from? So just the thing of like, you know, these two arguing, which I never expected in a million years to like this is the type of thing I love to see, where like we have like real legitimate actors and kind of like playing versions of themselves arguing with each other, which I'm like that this is cool, this is great. And they're arguing, they're cursing, they're hustling, they're like saying like, you voice a cartoon rap. I'm like, hey, that cartoon rap won a freaking Oscar, which I'm just attaboy, Patton, attaboy. Eventually, and Erica steps back in, and Brian just yells at her, like, look, I give you one task. I want Tom Hanks. You don't follow what I want, I ain't doing business with y'all. Have a good day. So I'm just like, damn, that was an interesting way to pivot on that. So I believe we head back over to the office, or the Stewart's firm. And they converse again about the divorce. But the wife's just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't even want to be at your trial. Like, the fact is, you saw this picture, you knew of this, so obviously the motive is clear that you killed him. It's right there on paper. And this is a good example of, like, it's a very mixed scene for me, where the follow-up function is that they actually look closer at the photo. Apparently, this guy wears contacts, and on that day, even in the photo, you can see clear as day, he's pulling on his glasses, and his contacts are in his hand. So at least at the time this photo was taken, he's blind as a bat. Now, obviously, of course, maybe as soon as he puts it, like, it's a photo, it's a still frame of a moment. You know, it is what it is. But the fact of the matter is that, you know that immediately it's just like a 180, like everyone starts believing him. I'm like, oh shit, we were wrong about this. Like, bro, did you not decide to check the photo out in detail? Like, you never really know. You are attorneys too. You got to look at the finer details here. But regardless of what the case might be, you know, obviously then the wife's like, oh shoof, I said that at a place, and I'm just like, yeah, this is the one side where, like, I agree. This is a moment where, like, you should listen and analyze before you make an opinion. At the same time, yeah, just the way the 180 worked in the scene, that it didn't do for me. It didn't, like, it carries some resonance, especially when, you know, at the end he says, like, look, if you don't want to be at the trial, that's fine. I'll manage. But I'm sorry for not being a better husband to you. I'm sorry for not being there for you. As an apology, I managed to book you a role. Which I'm just like, how did you book her a role when you're literally blacklisted as a producer right now? Like, how do you even get her a role? It is what it is on that front. We'll reconvene on that just quite later. Erica goes to Brian's house to let him know that, hey, look, the whole patent thing, you feel motivated. Apparently, Brian actually just signed on to be a leading man for an off-Broadway play in New York, which Erica's like, that's great, because everything that Patton did today was scripted. It was staged. Like, you know, that's not what he meant. Apparently, Erica and Leia worked with Patton to, like, kind of conveyed this, like, you can't do it attitude to Patton, to Brian, to kind of motivate him to, like, hey, like, you know, you can't do this. So it will motivate you to be like, no, you can do this. And I think that really helped out. That really helped out Brian, because, like, he took the leap. He's like, okay, it's not the Oscar role, but he could win a Tony for it. And honestly, he could be an icon actor. I don't know if he won an Emmy for Kevin Malone. I don't know. I don't know that. I wouldn't be surprised if he did or didn't. But you know, that very much was the motivation he needed. And honestly, I think that was a very nice, sweet way to kind of, you know, pivot Brian, you know, in real life too, to kind of pursue other roles. Because, like, yeah, he's always going to be known as Kevin Malone. Like, similar to Stephen Amell, no matter if Suits LA fully bounces back, he will always be Green Arrow. Grant Gustin will always be The Flash. Mike Keaton will be Batman, Beetlejuice, etc. Like, you know, you will always have those very specific roles you are known for. Maybe sometimes just the one role, but at the end of the day, it still works. It's still, you know, going to motivate him to, like, try something different, get him out of his comfort zone. And I think that speaks volumes to a lot of other people right now. Then we cut over to Stewart actually going back to his house, you know, having a moment with his wife, kind of being, you know, more in touch of, like, just everything that he's been through recently with this whole divorce thing. And, like, it makes you appreciative of what you do have, you know, that other people are not the blessed to get that as well. And you know, it was a very sweet moment between them, of, like, how, you know, Stewart's is realizing, and also them talking about Ted and everything of like, you know, he's technically family to them, but like as of right now they're not. And also with him being the executor of the will for his dad, it's like, how does that view? Well, where does Stewart really go from here? And it's like, well, you got to give it time. Like, just do the right thing for now, and hopefully maybe someday you and Ted can patch things up. Who really 100% knows, to be honest with you. And then I believe we get the last flashback where, oh no, I forgot about the other thing the flashback says. So apparently Kevin found out that someone from the mob or someone from the organization that Ted's trying to bring down actually just got in contact with a lawyer to get Ted out of the DA's office, which was Ted's dad, who just offered him the job. So Ted's dad is taking money under the table to do activities for these people. So as an act of a double positive, Ted brings his dad over to the station. Ted also tells his his witness, they're like, hey, look, if you don't want to accept the deal, sure, do that. Just keep in mind, I will find another angle for my case. I will win my case. You will be left out to die. So you best change your mind about the offer. Otherwise, we may not have anything to converse about anymore. So the guy actually takes it in stride a little bit. He actually does think about it a little bit more so. Then Ted goes into the to the interrogation room. He yells at his dad, like, how can you do it? Like, you're taking money from a criminal organization that your son, is handling. I'm working this case. How does that make me feel? And Ted said, like, hey, look, you got no proof to prove otherwise. All I did was I tried to get my son a job. That's a very simple fatherly task to do. And, the two have a whole argument about it. Obviously, what Ted's dad is doing is morally wrong, especially to his code as his profession. But he doesn't care. At this point in his career, he doesn't care. He's just willing to do this for the money. So Ted just yells at him, like, just stay away, get away from me. Don't do anything. I don't want any involvement with you. And he leaves. Then I believe the last flashback for the moment, actually not quite yet. So in the interject, well, I think I know how to wrap it up. So Rick calls Erica just kind of to update themselves on like where things are going, which is kind of sweet. Even though they're not physically in the same room, like they're still impacting each other's lives, updating them. And even though that was a very weird fling for them, I guess that's the vibe I'm getting off them. Like, I'm pretty sure they still have like some sort of urges for each other. It's just one of those slow burns type of things. But that Erica does thank Rick for like giving her a little bit of motivation about his work ethic actually working with her case with her matter with Brian right now. And then also Erica calls Leia to thank her a lot for all of her help with this matter. It really did make her break to keep the client, and it's still very much it's still a win for them at the end of the day. That Leia does have potential here at the firm. Then Stewart calls up Ted's assistant, even though she's literally about to lay it in on Stewart of like, how could you do that? Why are you even calling? Like, what you did after everything you've done to us, to Ted. Like, what makes you think I'm not just going to hang up on the phone on you? And Stewart's like, okay, I understand. But if you give me a few minutes, this might be beneficial to Ted. That Ted needs to know this. Then we cut back to Ted in his house, I believe, after a long day working the case. And he gets a call from his assistant letting him know that I know about your dad's death. The funeral's tomorrow. Stewart wanted me to let you know. And I'm only telling you not because Stewart wanted me to, because I think personally, yes, you need that sense of closure, basically. That, he's gone, but you still kind of need to accept it and be there to witness the end. And even though, like, obviously Ted's not having it, we get the last flashback where Ted goes back to his apartment. Stewart's there. Everything worked out for the best. And Stewart made the decision after the whole event they just had that, like, I want to be a criminal defense lawyer. Like, this motivates me. This is the type of work I want to be doing, and I'm going to do this as soon as I get back to LA. And it's going to be more money because this was at the time period where he and his now wife is going to get married. So it's very beneficial for him to like move into this new field, into this new opportunity, this landscape of opportunity. Which at first Ted's like, nah, you shouldn't do it, but he's like, okay, you know what, fine, yeah, go ahead and do it. This is at the same time where, like, Ted's brother, who I got a little confused, but I thought Ted's brother died younger, but actually no, this is he was still alive in 2010, and even Ted's girlfriend shows up. The three of them hug, like, hey, we're all like one very big conjoined family, and Ted's just watching them. I'm just like, okay. For once, I actually kind of feel what Ted is missing. Like, I actually, am kind of getting Ted a little bit, and then when we get like the kind of his pseudo Ghost and his brother, like, kind of, not overseeing it, but like overhearing the fact that Ted wants to have his father, buried alone, to be alone, and his brother, again, being his voice of reason, where, yeah, their dad did terrible things to them. That's without question. But he's still the dad. That they're only on Earth, they're only brothers, they're only together because of him. And that still counts for something. And so Ted makes the right call. He goes to the graveyard. Stuart is there. They don't speak. They just look at the grave. The brothers in the middle, kind of being like that weird in-between. No, not weird, but like the in-between between them. Ted's morally caring about, like, he's not looking really at his dad's casket. He's looking at his brother's grave. And the date on it is in 2010. So we're going to see his brother's death somehow pop up soon in the flashback perspective. But Ted and Stuart just standing silent of each other, not really acknowledging really too much of each other, as they're just overseeing the burial process. And that was it for this week's episode of Suits LA. What I said from the jump is true from the beginning. Yes, I do believe this episode is a very much of a notable improvement from the last week's. I am feeling more for Ted. I am feeling more about Stuart. I can now really start to see where they're at in their relationship. And the flashbacks did help. It kind of painted the picture of, like, how were these two before everything happened. And I think that was needed. Again, I know the type of show they were trying to sell is to separate these two. And I get that. But, like, not having the understanding of, like, where they're coming from. Why should we really be in there? Because, again, I know business is it's cutthroat. Like, you never really know when to expect betrayal. When to expect, like, someone, like, not being proper in their etiquette. You never know. Even your friends, your best friends, your family members, you never know when they're gonna, like, turn the corner, like, hurt you in the back. You never know. But at least here, we're getting to actually see Ted and Stuart really be close, really vibing off each other, not having this hatred between them, really spending time with them, I think was needed. I think it very much gave more credence to where they were at in the present day story. Erica, seeing her, like, really, having to figure this out with, her first real solo client, trying to, like, get this done with. Rick was just there. He just was mainly just, like, kind of doing something minor this week, so not really much fun on that. But also, what the cool thing for me that really kind of sold me on the episode a little bit is, like, having a real actor pop up, really kind of solidifying this is a real breathing role. You can have anyone pop in. You never really know. Maybe they will get Tom Hanks someday. Maybe they will get Leonardo DiCaprio someday. Who knows? I don't think so, but, like, someone could dream. But those moments were, like, my favorite because I really got to see something different. I really got to see something out of the box for these actors and, that and actresses that I've already seen before. So I feel like that would be a really cool play. I mean, obviously, I know guest stars are really expensive. We're going to have Harvey come out next week. So I'm not expecting that every single week. But, like, having those moments are really going to, like, for me, really take the clinch for the story. And I think that's going to be great for it. And I do have a little bit more faith that this show is getting better. I think this episode definitely showed me that there is improvement on the horizon. And I hope that the writers and everyone on the team can continue to deliver. So with that being said, I'm still giving this episode 1 3/4 thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of this week's episode of Suits LA. Let me know down below. I would love to have a conversation with you about it, because I want to. But I believe that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the hopeful first season of Suits LA. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two beside our Suits LA episode reviews, we are doing Madlock episode reviews each and every week after brand releases on Thursday nights on CBS. We are also doing the rookie episode reviews each and every Tuesday nights after brand new episodes on ABC. And we are doing Reacher episode reviews each and every Fridays after brand new episodes on Thursday on Amazon Prime. But if you don't care about Suits LA, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review for you, so stay tuned until then. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring that bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.